My name is Brent Siler. On the ballot, you'll see me listed as Alan Brent Siler because I have to use my full name. And I'm running for City Council in 2018.
Great. What's your favorite thing about Livermore?
It reminds me of home. I grew up in Western Tennessee, has the same population pretty much as Livermore, as well as the people. Remind me a lot of the people back home. It's a very engaged community. People want to help people, and I really enjoy, that aspect of Livermore. It keeps me connected and grounded.
What city in Tennessee?
Jackson, Tennessee. It's in Western Tennessee, about halfway between Memphis and Nashville.
I've heard it's a nice city. I haven't been there. I've been to Nashville a few times, but okay. Why are you running for city council?
Why am I running for city council? That's a good question. People have asked me that. Really, for me personally, what it comes down to, I think we have a lot of good candidates running this year, probably more so than in the past. And everybody's got their own vision and direction that they would like to see the city move in. Currently, with some of the things that are pending in the city council or have passed recently, it's not really for the population of our community. It seems like we're working against the citizens. And for me, I want to be more resident orientated than looking for a political career. I'm not a politician. I never will be. And for me, it's about representing the people. I want to be for them, with them, why I sit up there. And my decisions will be based off of what the community is wanting, not what my personal preference is.
Okay. The first issue that we're going to start with is one that's been a big issue for quite a while. And we're going to talk about the downtown plan.
Right.
Let's start with Stockman's Park, the new Central Park that's going to be going downtown Livermore. Mm-hmm. Do you support the council's decision for Stockman's Park?
Absolutely.
What are some benefits of this park?
Well, as a veteran of the Marines, served 10 years, not only are we going to be able to pay homage to other veterans from Livermore, but it's also to the stockmen who actually helped build Livermore. They were the founding fathers, in a sense, of Livermore. So they finally get their day to have something that truly represents who they are and what they've done for the community.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move to the hotel.
Okay.
A downtown hotel has been planned for Livermore for nearly 20 years now. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's finally about to come to fruition. Do you support the council's decision to place the hotel next to the Bankhead Theater?
Actually, I don't have a preference on where it's placed. I personally don't like the size of the hotel. No matter where it's placed, it's going to dwarf Blacksmith Square, which is a historic area for Livermore. So I'd rather see more of a stair-stepped hotel that would keep it more in balance with Blacksmith Square and other one-story facilities that will be directly adjacent to either if it's on the east side or west side, that it would be more complementary to it. But it is nice that we're going to have a hotel downtown that people can take advantage of.
So you wouldn't change the location if elected. You wouldn't change the location, but you might change some of the design aspects.
Well, again, like I said, I don't have a preference either way if it's on the east side or west side. So would if someone comes up and says, would you vote to move it? Again, since I don't have a preference, I guess the answer would be no.
Thank you. So Livermore is no longer immune to the housing crisis of the rest of the Bay Area.
Right.
And the current council recognized this by placing 130 units of workforce housing downtown in the downtown plan.
Right.
Do you support workforce housing being developed in the downtown plan?
I would much rather see it in a different location. I wish it was that whole area would have been more open space for the community to have other activities that could go there versus housing. We did get money from a grant or from an organization that allowed us to purchase that property. And one of the requirements is it had to have housing on it. Now, one of the council members, Bob Warner, was able to negotiate a deal with the Stockman Trade that most people are aware of that reduced the amount of housing that would have to go there, which, great, we reduce it. My personal preference was to have more open space that we could put other activities in. But since it's there, would I vote to remove it? No.
You mentioned that you would want more open space, so you wouldn't remove the housing, is what you're saying?
I would not remove the housing from it, even though my preference is I'd love to see more grass and trees and make it a true park.
Okay. So parking.
Parking.
Parking was identified as the top issue for citizens in the outreach process when it came to downtown. Do you believe that the plan has too many, too few, or just the right amount of parking?
No matter how we answer or how I answer this, it's not going to be the answer probably anybody wants to hear. We could have as much parking downtown as we want and people will complain. We could have as little as we want and people will complain. I think there are things that we could do better to address parking and concerns that some citizens have voiced that they would like to see more. So when you look at our demographics as a community, the average age right now is in their 40s. Okay, that means you have a predominantly older generation living in Livermore. And as part of that older generation, we do need to take in consideration ease of access for them to get and use the services that are downtown. So as I've been canvassing the neighborhoods, one of the concerns I've heard people express, there was no ADA parking down on the First Street. I then said, well, there's going to be additional ADA parking by the bankhead. There'll be additional parking in the garage. The city's trying to address that. Unfortunately, there's some people that can't park that far away. So I think for me, I think it's, any parking that we do today that increases what we have, if it's exactly the amount that parking lot would hold as a dirt lot, or in a 4-story garage with parking under the hotel, anything that we can do to increase what we have. But I think the bigger problem is we need to address the ADA concerns that a lot of people are talking about on different social media sites. And if we don't address that, then as a city, we really haven't done what we needed to do.
Got it. Our next big issue is campaign finance. During the last citywide election, when individuals were limited to $250 per candidate, political action committees spent upwards of $230,000, with most of that money spent by a single group on negative ads. How do you plan to win this election?
So people laugh at me when I say the approach I'm taking. I'm a traditional person, down to earth, can't get any more raw than this. I wear a t-shirt for an interview, but I'm a flip-flop t-shirt guy. This is who I am. At 54 years old, you would think I would have learned better by now, but I haven't. So to win this, I'm taking an approach of canvassing different communities. Why? I want to understand directly from those people, what are their concerns? What's going on in that? Because as I've gone around to different areas already, what one concern is, say in Springtown, may not be the same concern as in the southern part of Livermore. And as a council member, we have to look at everyone as a whole, not just one specific area or one specific group. So for me to win it, I'm canvassing. I'm gonna be doing some tabling downtown with some real-time multimedia going on. You'll be seeing a flyby with a banner. So I'm taken to the air, which has not been done in a while. And really, it's just getting out there to meet the people, one-on-one, shaking hands, and letting them know my vision. There's 5 people running, and if I'm not their bag of tea, there's different tea to drink, I guess.
How much do you think you need to raise, and how do you plan on raising
I'm
it?
self-funding. So I'm not taking any money from any PACs. I'm not taking any money from people who've, probably over 2,000 people have already volunteered to donate to my committee. I'm a committee of 1. I am the treasurer. I am the campaign manager. So I take my own money, because my personal belief is if I want to sit up there and represent my fellow neighbors as a council member, it should be my money that gets me up there. I shouldn't ask for anyone else to contribute to it. I need to do the hard work. I need to pay for it myself.
What are your thoughts on political action committees operating here in Livermore?
It's something that's covered under our Constitution. It's freedoms. They can do what they want to do. I think it needs to be fair and balanced so that, we get the truth that's out there. And anybody that is going to operate as a PAC should bring forward the facts, and present them as such. For me, I've told other campaign or other candidates that are running, I don't want this to be a mud fest. We see enough of that in the national elections that we don't need it at a local level. I think we should have fun with what we're doing. We should be just there to represent the residents of Livermore and not take it below the line. If other people want to go below the line, that's their choice. If someone wants to write something about me, that's their First Amendment right to be able to do. I can't stop them from doing it because I would be a hypocrite then by saying, no, I don't want you to do anything. So it's their right to do what they want to do. But as far as political action committees, they're everywhere we go. We've got to learn to live with them. Just hope that whoever it is, from a small startup group to a well-founded group, we all do it in an honorable fashion.
Will you condemn efforts by PACs to run negative advertising against your opponents?
Well, again, I go back to the statement. It's their right under the Constitution to write what they want to write. If what they're writing is fact, then it's fact. If what they're writing is not fact, yes, I would condone that, because then we're not getting the truth. And we should all be searching for the truth so that residents can make a well-informed choice about who they would like to have represent them on the city council.
Okay, a few more questions. What are some ideas that you have for the City of Livermore that we haven't already covered?
Wow, that's a good one. For me, my campaign is really built around a few items, and I'll just mention a couple. One is, and someone even mentioned this on a social media site, there's no such thing as smart growth. I kind of disagree with that person. I think as a town, we've always been kind of this cowboy town. And we're getting encroached upon from the big cities. Everybody's wanting now to have housing out here and live out here. So for me, it's about growing smartly within our community, because we need to be able to keep up with the infrastructure. We have a lot of problems from sidewalks. Water is another big one. There's a concern about injecting wastewater purified back into our aquifers. So, that is something that we've got to look at. Is the science there really to prove it's good for us to do that, or is it not good for us to do that? I'm still looking into how I would be positioned on that topic or not. So it's about growing smartly, keeping up with our infrastructure. So instead of doing the rapid growth that we're doing today, trying to infill every area of the town with high density housing, I think we need to look at it from more holistic point of view. To go along with that would be kind of our urban growth boundary, because unfortunately under Measure D, and what a lot of people forget about Measure D, is as a city council candidate, which if I get elected and put up there, if we infill our community to such a point that we can't build any more houses, then under Measure D, and without voter approval, we would have to breach the urban growth boundary by state law. They would require us to. So if we take and slow things down a little bit, I think it'll help the city financially to be able to keep up with some of the infrastructure costs, but it'll also help us grow our community in a way to where we don't have to breach in the near future the urban growth boundary. I mean, we've already got slightly over 30,000 lots or parcels in our community. Some of those parcels are with apartments. Those apartments kind of double up on stuff. We have the capacity of 40,000 parcels with our current infrastructure for sewer and water. So if we get too close to that, then we've got to start expanding, and there's going to be a significant cost to expand that capability. And we need to plan better to be able to account for that as we go forward without hitting the residents with a huge tax increase, either on property taxes or special assessments.
And our last question, which we'd like you to address directly to the people, is there anything you would like to say to the citizens of Livermore before we go?
You know, for me, I'm just a resident. As I said earlier, I'm not a politician. I don't ever plan on being a politician. But what I do want to do is get up and represent the community. I want to be with the people, for the people of Livermore. I want to stay engaged with the community if elected and successfully win, so that we can stay engaged and I guess really keep a dialogue going for the next 4 years that I'm up there. I'd like to be able to continually be able to come back and get input from the community so that it is the community making the decision, not Brent making the decision. It's not my opinion, it's the community's decisions. I'm looking for smart growth. We're looking to protect the urban growth boundaries, address the homeless issues that we have in town, because that's a problem that we have. And if that is something that you go and figure out this is what I'm about and this is what you want as a person to represent you, I ask for your vote. If it's not, we have really good qualified candidates running. Each brings something different. And if one of those people make it a better choice, then vote for that person. But I hope I'm your candidate and what I represent is what you want as a community.